All right, new Sarah Fraser Show podcast. We're coming in hot. We got a lot to talk about. Hi to everybody on my YouTube. First and foremost, you can listen to the podcast here on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio app, baby, Castbox app. But you can also watch on YouTube. I drop videos almost daily. Welcome into your fix of pop culture 7 days a week. Got a full set of shows for the rest of this week, too, that you should know about. Tomorrow, Thursday on the show, David Yontef joins with all the latest gossip in the Bravo world. Friday, can you guys believe this? This was a record moment. Thanks to you all listening and downloading this podcast. Do you know 1 year ago this week, Drake Bell gave me his exclusive interview after Quiet on Set documentary rocked the country and the world, okay? If you haven't seen it, it is out on HBO Max. You can get caught up. Quiet on Set doc explored the exploitation and sexual assault of Drake Bell, as well as other actors that worked for Nickelodeon back in the early aughts and the late 90s. It was just an explosive documentary. Everyone was talking about it, and Drake Bell trusted me to come here and give his first exclusive interview after that documentary. It's the 1 year anniversary of our interview and of that documentary dropping. That completely changed the trajectory of the Sarah Fraser Show. Since then, Marianne Williamson, who was running for president last year, was on. Meghan McCain has been on. Jimmy Bellino from RHOC went viral. He gave his first interview in a very long time. Came here to TSFS. So Mary Brown from Sister Wives, it really put us in a whole new category of guests. So forever grateful for Drake Bell. I owe him a pair of Gucci loafers, which I need to pony up the $1,300 and buy. But anyhow, I'm going to air that interview, and there's some updates. Drake Bell is speaking out about the 1 year anniversary of Quiet on Set doc. So that will go out on Friday. Saturday, David Yontef is back with more juicy Bravo tea. And then Sunday, I play one of my most downloaded podcast episodes having to do usually with Sister Wives or a big interview. So be sure to be subscribing. Today, we're going to get into some other Sister Wives news. Kody and Robin spotted out in public for the first time in a minute. And I'm going to tell you, people do not think they're happy and why they're speculating they're so sad. Also, it appears that TLC has a new hit show on their hands called Poly Family that is set to replace the Sister Wives. I will tell you about the show. I will play the trailer, what people are saying about it, and when it drops. And then also we have Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively news we'll cover. And I watched for the very first time Big City, Big Family on TLC, which you guys have been asking me to watch, and I'm going to give you my review. Let's start with, of course, Sister Wives. So you could pop over to my YouTube to see this picture, and I will also put it on my TikTok later today. But Kody and Robin spotted out at a butterfly sanctuary in the Arizona area with Solomon. Someone put a little blue dot over Solomon's face because obviously he's underage. And Kody is on his phone. He's in a flannel shirt. He's got brown shoes on. Looks very nice. But people think, and Robin is in her favorite color, purple. People think that Robin looks like a frump fest and that these two do not look happy. Now, how people can speculate what in the actual hell these two are thinking or doing based on a solo picture that someone snapped of them when they weren't looking is like mind-blowing to me, okay? This is where the internet goes nuts. People believe that these two are stressed because they're moving into their $2.1 million mansion and they can't make the payments. This is what people have gathered from this photo at these two taking a break at a butterfly sanctuary, okay? You know how many times I've done that? My husband's on his cell phone more than he gazes into my eyes. Do you know what people would have to say about that? You think Schman, when he sits on a park bench, is staring at me? No. He's usually, if he's in a state where he can bet on sports, he's on FanDuel. And if he's in California where you can't bet on anything for some crazy reason, he's probably looking at an episode of Pardon My Take. Okay? Like, how people have gathered this. But people feel that these two are stressed, that Kody is looking at his phone because they've got this $2.1 million house and they can't make the payments. The other thing is people just think that these two look miserable together. And, is this a sign that they wish they were still in polygamy? Y'all have gathered a lot. I just I just see this as like a family photo at any public place. Anyhow, we do know that they apparently are moving into that $2.1 million mansion. They have closed, and I'm waiting for the photos of them moving. Where are the pics of them moving in Flagstaff, Arizona? Okay, the other thing that's going on, I'm going to play the trailer right now, is a lot of rumor and speculation because yesterday TLC has dropped a new trailer for a show called Poly Family. It's a TLC show that people are already speculating is the rollout to potentially replace Sister Wives. Now, Poly Family is not exactly polygamy. However, it's two couples that all four of them are married. Two husbands, two wives. All right? Are you following? They live in a quadruple. And I'm going to play like a quad, four of them, okay? And the husbands sleep in different wives' rooms at night. They got kids, and the wildest shit on this trailer is the women since they've been in this quadruple, have given birth to babies, and they don't know who the daddy is because these two men switch it up. Okay, they switch it up. They in room to room to room. All right, let's listen to this and play. Here we go.
That's it?
Okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Oh,
Hi.
we're being introduced to these couples.
Where do you want me to sit?
Where do you guys usually sit?
Tonight's my night with Taya, so I'd sit by her.
I was in the middle.
Yay. Best seat in the house.
So how does this work?
Taya's my wife and Alicia's my girlfriend.
Tay, Sean,
And
Tyler.
vice versa. Alicia's my wife
Alicia.
and Taya's my girlfriend.
We are a closed polyamorous quad. A closed quad is four people, us. We're only dating within ourselves and married within ourselves. We don't have any outside partners.
Now
Like
you-
everybody else, right?
We never set out to live our lives like this, but we realized we could love more than one person and make our own rules as to what we want our family to look like.
Boy.
Get it, Raina.
Tyler and I had two children before we met, Sean and Taya. Since we've all been together, we've had two more children, and we have one more on the way.
Oh my
And
God.
we feel very fortunate to be able to give the kids double the love.
Dumb.
Who's the father?
Me?
Both of us. All right.
Since the guys switch rooms every night, we don't know who the fathers of the younger boys are.
I can assure you it is one of two people.
Of course, we wonder sometimes, but finding out could cause a lot of hurt.
You think?
Well, I guess we know who the dad is.
I should be able to talk to our kid.
How would you two describe your relationship?
Excuse me?
We live together. We have mutual partners and we parent together. But if we were in this situation, we probably wouldn't be friends.
Okay, well, TP will
This has
help.
always been a point of contention. Your kids and then us.
Dude, you don't need to parent me. I don't need that.
Maybe if I was parenting you, that would have happened.
When it comes to Taya and Tyler, it almost looks like they're more in love than him and I. And I can't help but be jealous about that.
I don't feel like we're the same people we were at the beginning.
Yeah, but do you want to work on it or not?
Oh my God, this is going to be a disaster.
To share,
Yeah, what?
I feel like I have a connection with someone else.
What does that mean? The quad we have now is the most important thing to me, and I don't want to screw that up by not thinking things through. It's complicated to bring someone else in. We're not closed anymore at that point. We're just not.
I don't know where we go from here.
Okay, I'm in. It goes down April 29th on TLC Poly Family. Yeah, okay, I'm in. I'm 100% in. So this could be the show replacing Sister Wives. Are we ready? I'm going to be honest with you. Unless these guys can bring it so crazy, which it does seem, this quad family, it does seem we don't know who the daddy is of these babies. We're going to learn who the daddy is. Now we got Alicia or Tay. They have found a connection with somebody outside the quad. Maybe this will be it. I do think we will never be able to replace Sister Wives. It's been 15 years on air. You cannot replace greatness, okay? It's one of the greatest shows. It's like the Osbournes. When the Osbournes originally came out, the original Real Housewives of Roni. You can't get it back. Look at Bravo. They're trying desperately. You never can get the magic back. You got to ride the wave when you got it. So anyhow, April 29th, I will be watching, and that is supposed to be the Sister Wives replacement. 2 quick stories, and then we'll move into my recap of Big City, Big Family. What did I just watch? Which Big City, Big Family, you know I love TLC shows. I believe Big City, Big Family, they did a special TLC, and I think this show was set up to try to replace Welcome to Plathville. I'm just going to say it. I think this is trying to replace Welcome to Plathville because according to my sources, Plathville is filming season 7, but the family is so divided, it looks like that will be the final season. Scott Peterson, in jail for murdering his wife, Lacey Peterson, has been attacked now at Mule Creek State Prison. Charles Miles said that he didn't recognize Peterson and mistakenly thought that he had been charging Peterson, or that Peterson had been charging him with a weapon, when in reality, Scott Peterson was attacked while holding a pickleball paddle and running after a runaway pickleball. Now, according to the San Francisco Chronicle that interviewed Miles, who attacked Scott Peterson to the point that prison guards had to intervene with chemical agents and batons, Miles told the San Francisco Chronicle it was God's plan, for sure. For sure. That's his direct quote. It was God's plan, for sure. Okay. Miles is office rocker. Yeah, both Miles and Peterson were medically evaluated and determined to have sustained minor injuries and were returned to their respective housing. Miles also received a serious rule violation. Court documents show that Miles was convicted of a gang-related murder in 2011 and was sentenced to 58 years in prison. I think he's a little office rocker. Peterson, of course, as you know, serving a life sentence for the 2002 murder of his wife, Lacey Peterson. But the significance of Scott Peterson, for those of you who have listened to this podcast, Rabia Chowdhury has been on. Rabia, of course, is the lawyer that started the Adnan Syed podcast serial that got that whole thing kicked off. And of course, we know Adnan now out of jail, will not go back to jail. The Innocence Project has picked up Scott Peterson's story, the Innocence Project, and Rabia Chowdhury is a person that believes it, that Scott Peterson did not murder Lacey Peterson, that it was 2 guys who were robbing homes. She confronted them and was then murdered. So Scott Peterson's case is going to get very interesting over the next couple of years as the Innocence Project is now fighting for him to get a new trial. Okay, a lot of he said, she said in the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively cases. First of all, Ryan Reynolds came out guns blazing yesterday. Reynolds says that Justin Baldoni cannot sue him over hurt feelings. Okay, this was big yesterday, trending yesterday, as well as Justin Baldoni coming after the New York Times again, demanding the judge not throw out the case against the New York Times. But first, let's talk about Ryan Reynolds. He asked a court yesterday to dismiss Justin Baldoni's legal claims against him, saying the actor cannot sue over hurt feelings. Now, here's where this story gets interesting. Reynolds, who is married to Blake Lively, was accused in the lawsuit of mocking and bullying Baldoni by using character of Nice Pool in Deadpool and Wolverine to satirize Baldoni's woke feminist image. Now, in a motion to dismiss yesterday, Reynolds' lawyers do not dispute that Nice Pool is based on Baldoni, but said that Baldoni had shown thin-skinned outrage by complaining about it. Baldoni, of course, directed It Ends With Us, in which he and Lively co-star. After the film's successful release last summer, Lively accused Baldoni of sexually harassing her on the set and using his publicist to try to spread negative stories about her. Baldoni countersued her and Reynolds, alleging that they were trying to destroy his career with false allegations. In the lawsuit, Baldoni alleges that Reynolds had berated him for allegedly fat-shaming Lively. He also accused Reynolds of calling him a sexual predator and of pressuring his agency, WME, to drop him as a client. That seems like it did happen. In a motion to dismiss, Reynolds' lawyers argue that that is not defamation if Reynolds genuinely believes it. The allegations suggest that Mr. Reynolds genuinely, perhaps passionately, believes that Mr. Baldoni's behavior is reflective of a predator. Ooh. The law establishes that calling someone a predator amounts to constitutionally protected opinion. While Mr. Baldoni may not appreciate being called a pet predator, those hurt feelings do not give rise to legal claims. The motion argues that Reynolds was not making a probable false statement of fact, but was merely offering his unabashed negative opinion for Mr. Baldoni's character. So this is so interesting. The motion alleges that the lawsuit is deficient in many other ways as well. It is, in essence, a burn book filled with grievances attempting to shame Mr. Reynolds. So interesting. It'll be fascinating to see. Again, now they're asking to have that part of it thrown out, that Ryan Reynolds wants out of the case. So we're going to see Judge Lyman has some big decisions to make. Now, on top of that, Justin Baldoni is speaking out and has declared that a jury must decide if the New York Times is off the hook for their involvement in his ongoing legal battle against Lively. A pietistic bastion of media establishment, the New York Times has long presumed itself beyond accountability, will not hear Baldoni 41 stated in court documents that were just published and obtained by Deadline yesterday, claiming that the newspaper went past merely reporting when publishing Lively's December 2024 complaint against him and Wayfarer Productions. Baldoni further alleged that the New York Times actively vouched for the veracity of its false narrative by publishing Lively's complaint in full. He also directed the film, of course, based on Colleen Hoover's book. The fair report privilege the New York Times seeks to hide behind does not protect it from liability for maliciously colluding with Lively and her cohort to publish a false and defamatory hit piece, wrongly casting Wayfarer and Baldoni as villains and making them scapegoats for Lively's well-publicized media mishaps. So we will see. Us Weekly, other news outlets reached out to Brian Friedman, Justin Baldoni yesterday to get some sort of comment on this, and they have not responded. We will see what happens. So far, Judge Lyman has granted the New York Times the request to pause the lawsuit while it reviews their motion to dismiss. Baldoni's latest filing is in opposition to the New York Times request for dismissal. So Baldoni is saying, we don't want this dismissed. The New York Times really screwed us over, and we don't want you to dismiss this. So we will see. Again, these motions, I'm sure, take a long time for Judge Lyman to dissect, to make a decision and a ruling on, but we have some big ones. Part of Ryan Reynolds' lawsuit could be thrown out, and now the New York Times. But certainly Baldoni has argued to keep it in there. Many of you had been asking me for a while to watch the special, the one-off special called Big City, Big Family on TLC, which I have finally done. What is Big City, Big Family? Well, Amber and Mark are a couple. They're like a fairly young couple, and they have 11 children. They have decided to move to New York City because their oldest daughter has been accepted to Juilliard, the prestigious music school. Now, okay, and they're a music family. And guess what? They were part of a big religious group. They used to be in a hardcore sect of the Baptist church, and they even admit, they're like, we were in a cult. We had to come out of the cult because this sect of the Baptist church, the women were supposed to be subservient. They don't work. They have to be quiet. They got to wear dresses. So they get out of this like cult-like situation. But of course, they still practice a lot of it. Okay. Which is hence why they're on TLC. TLC loves a crazy, kooky religious family with a bunch of kids. And I believe Big City, Big Family is the potential replacement for Welcome to Plathville. Now, this originally aired back in February, this one-off special. It's been out for a hot second, okay? However, I just watched it, and so far, we do not have any further updates if, in fact, TLC has given the green light for this to get a whole series. But I actually enjoyed it. I don't know what is up with me recently. I don't know what's up with me because I have really liked a lot of the reality shows that are out there. Baldwin's, hooked. I'm in. Now the De La Motte family, this Big City, Big Family. I actually thought it was compelling. I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was different. And now I'm like, I'm counting down the days to Poly Family. Like, I can't wait. Like, give me Poly Family. So the De La Mottes, there's 13 of them total, 11 kids. They air this special. And Amber and Mark get a lot of backlash. They're huge on TikTok. All the kids play music. And they force the kids to busk. Now, again, they claim they don't force the kids to busk, but this is a big source of contention on this show and on their TikTok. Like most of these situations, it drives me bonkers because this was the same thing with Welcome to Plathville. We have no idea how they make their money, all right, how they even got to New York City. Now, I think the reason is they're in New York City renting a $12,000 a month townhouse. He's a graphic design artist, by the way. And Amber, the mom, is a content creator. Also, the irony, right? Because at one point in this special, she's like, if my daughters grow up to be career women, I will feel like I have failed as a mother. It's like, bitch, you making half the money on your damn TikTok. You a career woman too. How about this? How about you want for your daughters balance, where they're good mothers, they're home a lot with their kids, but they're also generating income. It's always like the irony of these. It's like Kim Plath, Kim Plath didn't want the kids to have a Diet Coke or a margarita, and yet she's arrested for a DUI. Excuse me, bitch. Something ain't like the other here. Here we go. Amber De La Motte making all these proclamations as well. So what I don't like, though, is how did the De La Mottes even have the $12,000 a month to start renting a townhouse in New York? Because they don't want to let their oldest daughter go. They don't want her to be in New York City alone because the world is a scary place. Now, of course, I believe probably TLC I'm sure TLC gave them probably a 3-month advance so they could film for a month or two in New York. I have no idea if they're still living in New York City, although I should stalk their TikTok because my guess is that they are. And so we follow the 11 kids, and busking is a huge thing. First of all, nobody knew what the word busking meant until this show dropped. Neither did I. And busking essentially means that you go out and play instruments on the street for money. Never had heard of it. They allege they do not force their kids to do that. Their kids want to do it, but they're a band of like 10 like not that many because some of the kids, they age and range from like 2 years old to 22. So, and by the way, Amber drops it on us in this first special that boom, she wants another kid. No, you don't. You need a freaking, the pill endorsement, sweetie, ASAP. All right. I don't give a rip what the side effects are. The last thing you need is another child. They can hardly hold on to these kids. And like the Plaths, they're always like, they don't have any money. I mean, I think the Plaths have more money, although to this day, we've never really learned like what they do. And in this, Mark is apparently a graphic designer from San Diego. Excuse me? And you're making enough money to afford this New York City apartment? They're not, but they sort of are. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So what is interesting and compelling about this? Well, and first of all, why these people agree to put themselves on TV is beyond me, because have they not watched like Welcome to Plathville and the Duggars? Okay. It basically goes one way. Your kids become super fucked up and they rebel completely against the church. They hate it and they go crazy and start acting completely nuts. They get hammered. They smoke weed. And in Micah's case, they pose, practically nude for modeling. All right. And the Duggars, right? Here we go. And the one Duggar guy is in jail for molesting, like, I don't know how many of his siblings are. It doesn't go well, is what I'm saying. It doesn't go well. So, of course, though, nobody learns their lesson. So these guys want to be on television. And they're fascinating because their oldest kids, Josiah, first of all, Josiah is like amazing. He already admits, he's like, look, I'm a weirdo. I've been homeschooled. I can't interact with normal people. By the way, he's got a fiance. He's engaged, but the parents have no freaking clue. And so Eleanor is his fiance. Eleanor is a baddie. And first of all, and Eleanor is like, you cannot trust Eleanor. Okay. She is going to be the Olivia Plath of this family, hands down. Eleanor is cool with this plan with Josiah, where he has not told them that they're getting married. Because, they have all the religious, rules, right? Even though they're no longer Baptists. I don't know why they don't leave the rules behind. But Amber and Mark don't want the kids kissing before marriage. They don't want the kids kissing, let alone having sex. These kids are going to go bananas. They're going to get married at 23. They're going to be divorced at 28. They're going to be owning strip clubs and going nuts, having insane fetishes like my Uncle George. They're going to be tied up in leather. I mean, it's going to not go well. Okay? So anyhow, Josiah, though, is epic with Eleanor. Eleanor is like either the most naive chick you've ever met in your life or like the biggest plotter and planner. And she's like, Olivia Plath, hold my beer. This bitch is telling like Josiah, no, I don't want any drama. Okay. I don't want any drama with your family. Meanwhile, they've hatched a plan to not tell Amber and Mark that they're going to get married until like they've already planned the wedding. What I like about this show is where Plathville started so slow and like the kids were so innocent and we were like, this is watching paint dry. These kids are already plotting and planning about how nasty they gonna be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they've already, the Plaths never had access to the internet until they got the show. These kids, they on the internet straight up all the time. They know how to like plot and plan. Okay, so Josiah is keeping this. Then we got Pearl. Pearl introduces the family to her boyfriend, Adam. Okay, also the same way. Like, Amber and Mark are like, oh my God, you're dating. Like, we knew this day was coming, but no kissing. We don't want you guys holding hands. And, you know, we know Josiah, Eleanor lives like in Pennsylvania, so he rarely sees her. Meanwhile, Pearl's a good sister, by the way, because Pearl does not out him publicly yet. And Pearl's like thinking to herself, really? Josiah, you might want to jump in here and tell them that you having freak offs basically with Eleanor when she come in New York City and y'all are planning a crazy ass wedding. So we meet Pearl's boyfriend, Adam, and a lot of this special is like the lead up to meeting Adam and how, you know, they're lecturing Pearl about, you know, you've got to be a good wife and a good mother and, you know, you can't give a blowjob until you're 32 and you've been married. I don't even know if they know what those are. You know what I'm saying? But we know how this goes. We know how it goes. Okay. So we meet him. The other interesting thing that they reveal on this whole series is that they spend $900 a week on food in New York City to feed these 11 kids. And oftentimes their bank cards are declined. Well, that's relatable. You know, I mean, we've all been there. I thought that part was fairly interesting. They're homeschooled, of course, but this is what's interesting is the kids admit they're weird. Josiah says too, you know, aside from meeting Eleanor, he's members of history clubs. And that's basically all he can do because he doesn't know how to interact with people his own age. They, you know, when they were in the cult of the Baptist church, and again, it's not like your normal Baptist. This is like a hardcore Baptist sect. They weren't allowed to listen to any music with a beat. They had to just like be quiet, you know, quiet music, violin. They had never heard of the Beatles. This is again the kiss of death to these shows. They had never heard of the Beatles until like 2012. Honestly, the last known human beings. I'm not kidding you. They go, yeah, sometime in the mid-aughts, we learned of this group called the Beatles. Okay, I could not even control myself, you guys. The other thing, though, that I think is really great about these parents and why it's more interesting than Kim Plath or anyone else, they openly tell the camera that they're planning to give their kids 10% of all the money that they make busking. Now, of course, they go out and busk one day in this special. They make $80. Well, you're dividing that 8 ways. What are we making? 80 cents each at the 10%. But these kids, they get a cut. So, like, at least they're teaching them about money, about the media world. And there's something about this couple that seems, even though they're trying to keep their kids not exposed to New York City, they're also like living in New York City. You know what I mean? They don't watch TV, but it's like, you don't need to watch TV. You walk outside and probably people they're living in like the Bronx, I think, or Harlem. I can tell you right now, you walk out after 4:00, you'll see a full porn movie. I mean, you'll see the dialogue and the sex. You know, like in New York, LA, they're worried about television. You can't go out after 4. So there's something about these two I like. Amber and Mark seem like they like each other, although that's how they all start out. You know, Kim and Barry, and now they're divorced. But we will see. It's been awfully quiet since this show dropped. You know, Amber is not politically correct. She says that she doesn't want her girls to have careers. And so they don't seem afraid to like share their opinions. Whereas Kim and Barry, I feel like there was a level of Kim and Barry that wanted to be liked by the audience. So far, Mark and Amber seem as though they don't even know the audience is there and they don't care about being liked. And there's something already rebellious and plotting and planning with the kids. Just saying. So I liked it. Thank you guys for tagging me. I'll be curious to see if this show is a replacement. I wonder, and I have no knowledge of this, but I do wonder if maybe they're waiting to see if Plathville, the family, wants to sign on for a season 8 or not. But I think Big City, Big Family has some really big potential. And like I said, if I get HBO Max, you can watch it at any time there. Or if you have Hulu, you can still stream it because it's been out for a hot second. All right. Love you all. By the way, coming up in the month of April, I do have a couple of consulting. I only actually have 2 one-on-one podcast consulting slots available. So, I have a podcast course, Sarah Fraser's Go Big Podcasting. You can go to gobigpodcasting.com, purchase the course there using the code TikTok20 for 20% off. Or some people prefer one-on-one consulting. If you have a podcast, you want to know how to make money. If you are a storyteller, a filmmaker, a television star, and you want to bring a story to light by the form of podcasts, which a lot of people are doing, and then podcasts are, of course, being picked up to be made into TV series, or they're getting Netflix deals, we can do one-on-one consulting. Email thesarahfrasershow@gmail.com. I can tell you about my rates and how I teach people one-on-one to kind of like, you don't have to do the course. Some people are not into that. You cut all that. I'll tell you direct how you can make money and grow your podcast. Everybody seems to be having a podcast, FYI. So good for me. I love it. And like I said, everyone should, because we're still not sure about the future of TikTok, which is why we've extended the code TikTok20. And also, there are no FCC rules. You can say anything you want on a podcast. You can do any topic. Certainly not advocating for you to come on and do a racist podcast. You will be hard-pressed to get a sponsor. But you can cover anything you want. Medical science, true crime, sports, pop culture, interior decorating, whatever it is. This is the time to get in. GoBigPodcasting.com. Use the promo code TikTok20 or email me direct. I'm taking on a couple of new one-on-one podcast clients for the month of April. TheSarahFraserShow@gmail.com. All right. Bye, everybody.